welcome everybody. This is a momentous moment, an incredible opportunity to speak with Donny Epstein. Donny, I'm humbled, I'm appreciative, I'm grateful for you being here. I'm excited to uncover some deep learnings as we continue this incredible journey. For those not familiar with the landmark work of this incredible chiropractic thought leader, Dr. Donny Epstein earned his DC in 1977. Opened 2 successful family practices in New York, and at that time grew to over 1,000 practice member visits per week. And then in 1984, he began teaching a new revolutionary network chiropractic method, integrating concepts from various teachings and techniques, those including D.D. Palmer's tonal concept, BJ's principle of subluxation, and multiple cord tensions. And then in 1987, he discovered how to initiate a spinal wave that had unique spinal and central nervous system organizational capacities for consciousness. Deliberate pause as you take that in. Consciousness, personal transformation, and beyond ordinary health properties. And over the past 3 decades, this wave has been studied by leading universities, scientists, PhDs, and revolutionary academics, and articles have been published on the self-organizing properties and thousands of references made to the mathematical properties of this wave in academic journals. It is a true revolution in understanding health, the spine, the nervous system, and we are going to talk on that today. Beyond that, though, Donny Epstein's technologies extend from evolutionary healthcare, self-help tools, and personal typologies to organizational enhancement and performance consultations. And through the use of his EpiEnergetics methodologies, individuals and companies are now engaging in the consciousness and ecological use of energy and information to produce the extraordinary. In addition to having written 4 books, co-authored several articles, he has trained thousands of doctors, students, and even lay people in his different methodologies, and is praised as being one of not only our thought leaders, but a true genius within the profession, outside of our profession, and hailed by individuals including people such as Tony Robbins and Ken Wilber, and he's also sought after by celebrities, politicians, CEOs, because the information he has, the knowledge and breakthrough that he provides is transformative. And so to have this opportunity to share his wisdom, insight, depth of knowledge, and understanding of the gift that is chiropractic and the gift that chiropractic is based upon is going to be unique. And I am so looking forward to this. Donny, it's incredible to have you here once again.
Marcus, thank you. And thank you for, I could say, the boots on the ground, so to speak, while the spirit's in the sky at the same time. A great combination.
Appreciate that. This is, as you know, we brought this event together for a very important cause, but it's not only the cause that drives why we do this, it's the message that it contains that is an imperative. And this book, A Modernization, and I know we've spoken about this incredible book, Man's Greatest Gift to Man, Chiropractic. We're going to bring this to life in a conversation in a way that I think is going to be unique and special because of what you know and understand, not only about chiropractic and its gift, but the elevated consciousness that unfolding our true potential brings forth when we work with our nervous system in a very coherent way. So let's talk about a couple of things that I think is really important from the book. We want to talk about, in there, Marcus Spark, who wrote in the foreword of Man's Greatest Gift to Man, said that the book, and I would even dare say chiropractic, and the evolution and understanding of the gift of chiropractic appeared at a most significant time. It was significant then, but I believe it's significant now as well. Why do you think that it's significant that we revisit the principle that is contained within man's greatest gift to man?
Well, first, that question could be a PhD thesis. And first of all, Frank DiGiacomo was one of my teachers in chiropractic college. He inspired us, and actually was really interesting because my mentor in chiropractic college was Tom Whitehorn. Tom Whitehorn was a student under Lyle Sherman, the BJ Public Research Clinic, upper cervical practitioner. And he was in chiropractic college. He became my chiropractor. At that time, my mother was seeing Frank DiGiacomo there. I was seeing I was seeing Tom Whitehorn because my upper cervical spine is very anomalous. So no one wanted to adjust me. So they sent it to him, which was one of the greatest gifts for me. And it's interesting because Tom Whitehorn, and who was a real upper cervical philosophy, he actually was teaching philosophy before we had more philosophy being taught by Frank. And he was complaining because he said, Frank is a mix of chiropractor. He takes blood pressures and takes Hatama readings, that type of stuff, come on, that type of thing. And Chacos said, well, it's important that people see things that are meaningful to them that have changed in their life. The instrumentation X-ray doesn't mean, so that was part of the conversation going on back and forth there. And it was really a friendly dialogue there. So in answering the question, what is the gift of chiropractic? It's the philosophy, science, and art. And what happened is the science and art must be coherent with the philosophy. And we must have outcomes that demonstrate that, and demonstrate it for the people who are our clients who are serving. So the basic principle is that's organized the wisdom universe. Every spiritual tradition speaks about Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hindu. All the major traditions say there's organizing wisdom and organized life that runs everything, that connects you to the source. And at the pinnacle of every spiritual tradition, in its writings, it says the pinnacle of it is an experience beyond yourself with that force that organizes. I believe the fact that exists is a given. Your relationship to what organizes all of it is your theology. But let's step away from theology for a moment and say, how does life organize? What are the qualities for organization of life? Well, you need energy. And in Reggie Gold's China Life, he said to China Life, intelligence, force, and matter. As in his PhD in 1962 or so, early 60s, and summarizing many of B.J. Palmer's writings and D.D. Palmer's. Intelligence is something that organizes. Energy, also called force, actually organizes information. In today's world, information is data. In order for data to be organized purposely, it needs information. To the degree with which there's available energy to organize, the organizing wisdom, to activate it, to power it, so it's not just a potential or a theory. To the degree with which there's available energy for the nervous system and other informational systems coordinate through the nervous system to manifest a higher level, we need energy. To the degree with which we have energy, that's how much we have either entropy, where disease is intellectual adaptation to that, because the disease is a means of giving a cure. It's trying to reset yourself. Although, and all the symptoms are the means the system reorganizes itself. So if there's more available energy, the system organizes with higher consciousness states. All traditions speak about higher level of mind, spirit, whatever it may be. Beyond just survival, beyond just coordination of parts. It's a coordination of the space between us where the mental impulse lives. And in that way, the principle of chiropractic and the practice of chiropractic, unfortunately, very rarely come together. Where people go into routine means of giving an adjustment, that's okay. But how do you know innate is being liberated? How do you know this is the most efficient way? So the greatest gift to chiropractic, the world, is chiropractic with its integration of science, philosophy, science, and art. And the principle goes back to relationship of energy and information. And what we consider reality is based upon our ability to bring those two together with the self-organizing forces and actually have an experience of innate. If it's innate is innate, and it is intelligence, you don't have to convince somebody of it. If you have to convince somebody it's innate intelligence, and I don't mean to be insulting anybody, but you haven't delivered the goods. In the presence of the divine, you don't have to say it's a God.
Yeah, you speak with such elegance and authority over this topic. The insight reverberates from what you say, and we're here in a period of change, and in fact, this is a modernization. This event is about modernizing Man's Greatest Gift to Man, the book, the teachings. And the way you speak there, that either tells us that our philosophy is timeless, or you've brought deeper insight to the philosophy and evolved it. How would you say, what would you say in relation to that comment, and how would you say we have changed in our philosophy, how it's evolved, and what it means for the profession in its changes and evolution?
Well, it depends upon who you define as we. Okay. I think it goes back to science. I know before you groan about that. The philosophy is leading edge science. I meet with some of the most brilliant minds in the world. We're doing research with them. And what's really phenomenal about this is that a paper that one of our team members was just accepted, wasn't published yet, is on a unified theory of consciousness. And consciousness is associated with the fluctuations of electromagnetic field, which occurs in a quantum state between individuals. And what appears to access that? Coherent frequency and trained neural centers. When they vibrate coherently together, resonate together, it creates an electromagnetic field which steps up the function of the nervous system. Oh, well, that's what I've been talking about for years. But next level is this. What they then say is, well, what is consciousness? And this is top neuroscientist, physicist. I have to have people translate these papers for me. It's like mathematics, and they make reference to terms. I don't know what they mean. I know what they mean, but I don't intellectually know it. And I'm studying it. I'm finding out about it. That consciousness is associated with a system that self-organizes. Let me say again, consciousness is associated with a system that self-organizes. So this is what the different theories they're talking about now. I'll give you a summary of some of them. Okay. And the person who wrote that paper on consciousness is a PhD in neuropsychiatry, and our understanding is coherence, the central nervous system, how it's impacted on the fields, or the energetic field, and how it impacts reality. She's just been appointed as research director of the EpiEnergetics Foundation, which is not only supports the chiropractic application, it supports how these principles apply in economics, in politics, in law, in health, in education, how systems self-organize, because we're not separate from that. So this is the part. There is a 0 point field of consciousness, a 0 point. It contains all the information or data that's available to the human mind. Actually, to everything besides us. Every atom, universal intelligence, giving matter its properties. Innate intelligence, self-organizing. Universal intelligence, universal force of destructors bring things to entropy and towards randomness. Innate forces help them build up to syntropy. And in that, the unique elements of this environment and unique aspects of the environment, unique characters of the individual, in between that comes this universal innate forces here. Now, There's a 0 point field, a field that everything taps into, that everything's made from. That 0 point field occurs in multiple dimensions. We cannot see it from this dimension, but we can see its impact in this dimension. Somehow, in some way, the central nervous system connects that 0 point field, and there is a vibrational connection between the two, whereby the nervous system gets information, learns and grows, and organizes. F. Okay? That's what they're talking about. I've been invited to participate in allowing what the message that we have and research into that. So the principles I'm speaking about right now, some leaders of countries, prime ministers, the chancellors, royal families are being instructed in these principles. Some are getting chiropractic care also. Some are not. Some just want to know how to systems self-organize. What's the difference? What's going on in the world? Now it seems like it's breaking apart. And what's on the other side of it? So sometimes we call chiropractic. Sometimes no need. Would you like to know what organizes, what's really pulling the strings? Not people, not presidents, because we're all organized by a larger system. And the question is, how do you align with that larger system so it effortlessly organizes yourself? And you know what? There's a healthcare application that does it also. Did I answer that question?
Greater questions, expanded the thematic conversation we're having. You've done more than answer it. And I have to come back to what you've just said there, which is several things. You firstly correlated self-organizing with consciousness. And it would be remiss of me not to say the principle of chiropractic is that, the adjustment, removing subluxation, and whichever principle you use to discuss that delivers the self-healing, self-organizing properties of the body.
Because it liberates energy that's been bound up in conditioning as fixation, as disease, as your concept of yourself, as your concept of chiropractor, in the roles you have, all the educated minds binding energy so you fit into the world, fit into the cultural field, fit into the current think, stay in the matrix. Because I believe that we are living in an artificial intelligence program of the culture. And we are responding to that right now. Yet that program is not life's program. It's educators' field consciousness. And as it's not about reducing subluxation, to help you understand that is an archaic term for a bigger principle we've never really studied. I see a subluxation, and I see a subluxation as an adaptive means when an individual loses the unique signature of who they are, the soul energized principle of vibrational signal of heaven birth. And the subluxation somehow reduces your experience of the world. It puts you into educated trust as compared to trust in organizing principle. What it does at that point, that's why BJ spoke so much that innate contacts educated. Educated doesn't even know how to contact innate. It cannot. All the conditioning you have is what is a good husband, what's a good wife, what's a good boy. All those things, educated mind, bind energy and limit your experience of the world to give you certainty, to be liked, to be accepted, to fit in. That's what's happening in the world right now, politically, economically. This artificial intelligence program that the human field connects to is the educated mind's concept. And its job is to minimize or downsize the experience and faith in life. That's what's going on right now. It's a spiritual battle going on between the dominance of mind to control, to bind, to limit, to reduce people's experience of that which the mind will never get, not just in health, and those that liberate it. I believe purpose, what adjustment really is the practitioner finding an access point that the self-organizing wisdom and intelligence, that I've defined 6 different intelligence that's really made up, we have mathematical signatures for them, and how they organize, and how it relates to different conscious states of religions. But besides that, right here, when you're going to find access to the systems, put a force in, so it could recognize with a flash the mental impulse. It connects to the 0-point field. And somehow, when there's more energy available with recognition of what is true and real, light, our cells give off light. With that light, enlightened, illuminated, brilliant, with that, at that particular moment, there is an unbound source of energy available. We don't have to make a breakthrough. We don't have to go through pain and suffering. We don't have to have a bankruptcy to get there, to liberate the energy that's been conditioned there, so we see what is real. So with that, the adjustment is asking permission to have access, to invite the system, to organize the wisdom, to observe the system from a bigger perspective, with a larger participation, a larger circle of humanity. Carving today for a better world tomorrow. When that happens, suddenly there's a greater download that happens from the 0-point field, from the universal intelligence. Energy now is there available to organize your life in a different way. The more we study that, the more we refine that and say, is this really happening or not? All adjustments work, well, if there are adjustments. But so far, the schools have not really defined the terms well enough or given us the real outcomes to see. If you take care of someone, you adjust them. Your readings improve, whatever outcomes you have improves. If that person's still a nasty son of a bitch, you know what? You may have treated them. No healing occurred. Healing is about the person. Chiropractic is not really about the spine. Spine is an avenue into the system. It is a means of helping that person to be more whole with the forces, the same energies of organize the sun, the moon, the stars. That is what it's about. So we got to get busy really being up with modern sciences, because modern science is talking about that right now. Academic papers on it. I recognized this almost 4 decades ago. And instead of path, people say it's not chiropractic, it's not this. Call it what you call it. It's not, maybe not your version of chiropractic there. What outcomes are used? We have to change our outcomes to more social science outcomes. It's not how do you feel? How do you feel about how you feel? There's illness and wellness, and this is a difference. Illness and wellness. I-L-L-ness, wellness, W-E-L-L-ness. What's the difference? I or we. When you're subluxated, it's I, controlled by an educated mind, keeping you separate and downsizing your participation and responsibility in your life. When there's more energy, you can now adapt to the space between us, and that's called a we-ness, and that's wellness. Chiropractic does not belong in the disease system. It belongs in the wellness illness. And illness is about something's not right. I'm out of touch with life. My life is not connected. I'm not finding effortlessness, and I don't trust the power within, not the power around, the power that gives me the ability to even imagine there's a separate in and outside. And wellness is we-ness. How do we participate? That's different than disease. Now, a person can have a disease and be well. A person have no disease and symptoms and be ill. Chiropractic intervenes between health, social science, between you and every interaction you have in the world. And as we start assessing that, you're going to find some people's disease or symptom didn't go away because they're not supposed to go away until your life is interrupted enough to get to that weakness. People listen, you're going to have to listen to this a few times. You know, I am giving you decades of wisdom about healing, about life. And chiropractic is just the perfect chiropractic. You know, we intervene at the exact place that is the interface between how you experience your body and life and how you experience the world. The interface between how the world impacts you and how you impact the world. And what we've been doing is, in a self-acceptance state, we try to change our self, our ill self, to adapt to a computer program that's designed to control and imprison the innate message. So a certain number of people could have power or the illusion of power and control.
Listen to you speak, and again, reflecting on this event as we move forward and look at how philosophy has evolved, how the science of chiropractic has been altered, how the art and our chiropractic technique has developed, and how our research has progressed that has mirrored everything you have just said. And for some, this will be new, and they're awakening to the evolution of chiropractic. For others,
if it doesn't happen, it's not going to be around. If it doesn't seem real, or it doesn't seem weird, if it doesn't challenge every belief you have, it's not going to be around, and you're not going to be around. Right now, we're at the shift in consciousness, what I call tier of consciousness, and consciousness is associated with how much energy is available to organize life and life to organize you. The first tier of consciousness is educated mind. It's been around since men first walked the earth and women walked the earth. And it's based on a principle of limitation of resources. So we have to compete with one another at who's going to have control of the resources of energy and information. And the only way we have greatness is by having great wounding, where universal forces come in and try to rip our life apart, and we blame the way that trauma happened as the reason why we're messed up, as compared to universal forces of saying, wake up, there's something more, you're meant for more. And those people, the greatest gifts in the world to give, are always subluxated, the earliest in life. We mean subluxation is good. A subluxation is meant as interruption. But the more out of touch you are with the innate impulses, the signals the body has, the message is before the mind, the message is after mind. The more you think it's your own journey, and the more you think of effort, rather than how does innate organize? How does life organize? How does life do it? The earthworm doesn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to do something for the environment. It just is the environment. So this next tier is different. And the first tier deifies the physical world as a primary reality. BJ and DD were really clear about that. It's not a nerve impulse, it's a mental impulse. It's a vibrational signal now called acoustic wave, which actually is what runs the nervous system, and the mechanical vibration, which goes by the same speed as a nerve impulse, electrical signal along the nerve, activates, changes the membrane, and that results in electrical signal as a byproduct of that, consistent with DD Parma. And that vibration is consistent with the vibration of the whole universe. That's what they talked about. You got it. That I want to make sure that's happening. So with this basic idea, we consume more than we give. Chiropractic profession is doing that too. To try to be liked and accepted. If you want to be liked and accepted, do something different. Chiropractic is politically incorrect, always was meant to be politically correct because the system is too subluxated. And don't attack the system. Just show people what's possible. Shut the freak up and deliver the goods. And let the patient tell you what change they have. And that's why, and that's not because chiropractic works. People don't care about chiropractic. I know you're going to ask me a question. I'll tell you right now. Don't try to get chiropractic to the world. Don't sell chiropractic. Don't talk chiropractic. I know it's the opposite. It's never freaking worked. People don't, that's your product or service. A business is not about a product or service. A business, a system of systems that delivers on a promise that adds value to an individual and makes revenue. That means your business is not chiropractic. Well, what business are you really in? Liberation of life, manifestation of potential, They don't care if they're self-centered. They don't have another boogeyman destroying the world they have to worry about. Don't sell chiropractic. Let them know there's organizing wisdom. Give them examples of organized wisdom. Show them examples when it's there and when it's blocked. What can happen? People's lives changing. Do assessments that actually can show, and papers you write about people's lives changing when this happened. Gee, doc, you think it's the adjustment? I don't think it's an adjustment. Maybe this happened in my life. You all heard it. Talk about that. And then the why is a principle. The what is chiropractic. And the how is the adjustment and the way you communicate with someone consistent with this. So please don't make chiropractic as the answer to the world. Chiropractic is an application, a very refined application. It's been honed since 1895. That actually delivers on what they value more. How could I be more aligned with my nature? How could I be more aligned with the force that organizes? How could I have less effort in my life and more experience of the force that heal, that animate, motivate, heal, coordinate, inspire us? You see, to take care of somebody, to eliminate, anytime you take care of something, to make something go away, you get more of it in the world. Why you adjust? What more do you want to show up? What more? Focus on what more and talk about that and let people know about that more. The next tier of humanity. Oh,
liberating humanity.
What's that?
Donny, you've elevated the profession to liberating humanity.
That's it.
And it's such a profound statement. It's such an incredible possibility.
Well, isn't that what BJ and BJ talked about? They talked at the very beginning.
Why is such a vision maligned? Why is it ignored or neglected? How do we deny this?
The reason is because people identify with their strategy rather than their objective. The objective is not to adjust a spine. The objective is not to correct a self. It's a strategy. When you focus on a strategy, energy drops. Your system becomes smaller. Your outcomes get smaller. If the object is to help liberate the self-organizing wisdom of life in all of its forms, all of its things, and help upgrade the human operating system to a new level. If that's the case, it's a different world. You'll attract different patients, get different results. Your technique will be different conversation. You're not talking about what's bad. You're not looking at what's wrong with the person. You're helping them find out what's right with the person, right with life. The next tier is based upon the real principle. The next tier is there's an image. Everything in the physical universe is composed by invisible forces. Access to those invisible forces to organize our body and our life is the basic principle. In this case, the physical body is made from invisible force we can't see, but we can see its expression of. Educated mind will not know about it. That's why I call it epi-healing. Beyond ordinary healing. It's unreasonable, extraordinary. If it's reasonable, it's not going to be around in a few years from now. In this next tier, what is valued is not money. Or money is a tool. Why? To give people more innate experiences that light them up and light other people, take as many people with you. Power is not how you control. Power is how much energetic capital you add to the field for humanity. And just this will help, I think, understand this is what's happened to the chiropractic profession also. It's not just profession, it's everything going on. With humanity, it's shifted, it's a different bend. It's taken a different path. And if you did what you did before, go about it the way, you're going to be run over. You're on the right track. If you're on the right track, you'll be run over if you just stay there. Here we go. Pure awareness of the nature of you as a living system, how the system organizes, how big your system really is, how big the impact is. Pure awareness of what's going on with your practice members or patients. Without the hunger to change it, without the hunger to transform it, without the hunger to move away from it or correct something. Just awareness, this is the way they are because the way the nerve system is functioning, with the resource it has, that's the natural act they're playing. And honor that. And let them know they're like this because that's how they've been doing it. Acknowledge it and let that person acknowledge when they're adjusted. that there's a liberation of what, there's more what, there's not less of, there's more of what now. Give testimony to other people about what's more, not what's gone away, what's replaced it on a higher order. And the third is accept that none of us are enough for what we're doing. And what is enough is the organizing principle and the force of life. In this next tier, awareness activates the quantum forces, and awareness brings the mental impulse into a reality. So, the caterpillar eats a tree. It'll rip a tree apart, it'll destroy it. It consumes for its own benefit. Me. Then something happens. It makes this chrysalis or its cocoon around it. Every cell of that was a caterpillar dissolves. It's destroyed as a soup. There's a spark of light that hits it. A mental impulse hits it. And suddenly the transformation occurs. It's becoming a different organism. We are now in the caterpillar, in the cocoon stage of humanity. And people looking, the mask is a cloth, it's a metaphor, it's a cloth around us. Get back in the mask. Don't show yourself. Let's do X, Y, Z to get back to the way it was before. The genie will not come out of the box, and those people want to get back before, they'll be dead. Because life will not allow us to bind the energy from natural resources, to get energy from the oil with violence and force. The way we treat disease is violence and force. The way we treat each other is if we own the earth, we own our children, we own our family, we own anything. The funeral card doesn't have anything on top of, no luggage rack. And now it's called imaginal cells when it's a soup, because it's imagining something extraordinary. And what emerges is a butterfly when the light is touched on planet beauty. And its whole role is to pollinate, to add more value to everything it touches and has source. Humanity is at that point. And for those who are looking to survive, as we did before, politically, economically, socially, the largest system will have to create a political collapse, economic collapse, social collapse, environmental collapse, which is all happening. Because in it, universal intelligence is ripping things apart to liberate energy, to liberate information, to liberate the bandwidth that it needs to have to organize the world. And the reason why I believe chiropractic was developed as an embodied means of being a tool to let that happen. And if chiropractors were actually practicing consistent with that for years, I believe none of this would have happened. The social political system would have already happened. And the first tier of humanity, the only way you liberate more energy information is through force or violence or control. Get this, the dragon is dead. The universe will no longer support it. So it is doing everything it can in every system to bind energy, to control energy, and now to control the new energy, information. Well, that's the path of the predicament of species, which is spoken about by Guy Reichman and Joe Felicia with Renaissance. And here's an answer.
I think the only thing before we end this awakening conversation is there'll be those who have heard this and it resonates. It's coherent with them. They know and see the truth behind this, and yet it feels overwhelming, and there is still uncertainty or doubt in their heart and their mind. And there'll be those that also go, I want to move in that direction, but this is an inspiring conversation, but it isn't giving me the actions to take to step boldly into this new world. What is your message to them as we close here? How can people equip
It's not going to give you the answer. It's going to give you the inspiration. This is not a wish or want. This has to be a burning desire for more than yourself. If you're concerned that you're uncomfortable If you're concerned you may not like it or people may reject you, then you're part of the problem. You see, I've created extraordinary things. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I have. That's never existed before. Ideas that never existed before. I brought these principles to life, and I continue to do different things. I've been attacked. My life has been threatened. Our family's life has been threatened politically, economically. I've been put on different watch lists and different things. And the difference is, earlier on, I wanted to prove that I'm right and everyone else is wrong. It was about me. For me proving that I'm worthy of something. I'm going to react against something. I'm going to show who's wrong. And I realized all you want to say is, yes, that exists. The way the nervous system is functioning, the way you organize the world, that is reality. Imagine if you thought you were going to all-inclusive resorts in a paradise place, adult resort, and you go to call, dial up on the phone, and you get City Morgue, and you keep dialing 5th, 6th time City Morgue. After all, you'll say, well, something's wrong here. Or you say, well, maybe that's what I dialed up. As long as you're concerned with people liking you, you'll never be extraordinary. Because when you have enough vision, if it's not you, who? If it's not now, when, now? Not now, when? Who graduated with you in chiropractic colleges could do a better job than you? You don't have to be perfect. You know, there's a saying, and it's tikkun olam, and in Judaism, is to repair the world, not the circle, help repair the world. It's said in Talmud, Jewish writings, sacred writings. When you help one person, when you heal one person, or help them to heal, in time, the whole world heals. It's also been said by Martin Luther King, a American hero who helped the people of color to be able to be integrated in society more, with peacefully, similar to Gandhi's peaceful resistance there. He said, what affects one of us affects all of us. In Nazi Germany, they said, you know, they took away the Jews, and I didn't step up because I wasn't Jewish. Took away the Catholics, and I didn't step up because I wasn't Catholic. They took apart the homosexuals, and what happened? Then there. They took away the gypsies. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to stand up for me. I was asked early in my chiropractic career, and this touched me. You could feel it. I mean, when you're hearing me, you're feeling the coherence. This is not bullshit. This is not philosophy. This is what I'm made for. And it's not chiropractic. It's help us transition humanity where we're adding more value than we're taking. We're no longer, everything we see. EpiEnergetics is a model, which really is a rebranding of the chiropractic principle that affects all of life with a health application in chiropractic there. And in this entire aspect of it, it's a simple, simple principle. When you bring a source of energy to any living system or anyone observing a living system, consistent with its nature, the system automatically evolves to become something else. Now, what we're looking at here is what's going on in the world is who is controlling and binding the information and who's liberating. And those that are trying to have free expression of energy information are being stopped on all different levels. And when you get subluxated, you downsize and you trust your fears. You trust your doubts. You believe your fears. and you doubt your faith. So what we're talking about here is that everything you consume, EpiEnergetics, energetics is a science of how systems transform energy, one type to another. A roller coaster, top of the roller coaster, potential energy. It's converted to mechanical energy, heat energy. What about the energy of joy or scare, fear when people move down? How that affects people? How energy is transformed and how it's transformed in a system and how it transforms the system. That's what chiropractic's about. Really. It's an application of that. And there'll be many other applications that develop over time when people stand on my shoulder and your shoulders. What is epi? Besides the fact that I'm Epstein, okay? Epi is Greek for beyond, around, or between. That's the interface between the physical and the material. That's when B.J. Palmer said that the nerve impulse, mental impulse and nerve impulse does not flow through the nerve, it's around the nerve. You look at a match, the flame is around it. Electrical current, and like the nerve current, bounces around it. It is between the material and immaterial, and chiropractic is a merging of the material and immaterial and bringing a new world to the immaterial by the value of the immaterial that organizes. So every energy you consume has a consciousness, epi space around it. You use fossil fuel, 350 million years to make it. It's bound. We liberate it. What's the consciousness that energy brings to the world? The wars, the violence. What type of cultures are they in? What type of business practices? What about solar? Well, solar is really great. Only thing is it uses the battery packs that are made by slave labor in China. Oh, but I have an electric car. That's really good. Yeah, but it takes 100,000 miles of driving before you make up for the energy made in the battery. And the battery is always dangerous because with this change, with the change in the world, with change. But everything you consume for energy and you use in your thoughts, your emotions, your spirit, the food you eat, it brings more consciousness to the world. EpiEnergetics is ultimately, we want to make sure that you bind for your money, build a practice, a relationship, bind for yourself for that, but make sure as a result of that, there is more available energy and opportunity for others. That's what EpiEnergetics is about. And I will tell you, I know this is what I'm made for. The legacy I have, and hopefully the legacy you have, is because you lived, more people are impacted or affected. And now you intervene with a chiropractic adjustment. But is it an adjustment? Or is it your concept of adjustment? And I'm not saying I'm better than other people. I've just studied it longer. I cared about it more. Because I don't care. I am not a warrior for chiropractic. I stopped that years ago. I'm not a warrior of anything. I'm more like the oracle. There, yeah. I am here to bring the light of truth to how life organizes, which is what we're really doing. And rather than taking credit, I help someone to heal. I help somebody remember what is real, what is permanent, but seems transient. Chiropractic today for a better world tomorrow. I think the better world tomorrow is what created chiropractic. I know.
There are no words. However, in honor of what you have just shared, not only what you have said, but what you have energetically expressed, communicated, infused within us. The gift I can give back for the gift you have given is, I choose peace. I choose love.
Well, let me say, don't choose peace, choose reality. Mm-hmm. Because peace, if you choose peace and love is your main things, nothing will change because you accept everything that's going on. Love and peace, for many people, it's true, but love and peace very often is a code word for no change. The nervous system works on disturbance. And hopefully we're disturbing the status quo. or we become part of it.
I choose to disturb the status quo. I choose for this event.
But do it respectfully.
Powerfully.
Say yes, just say not either or, yes and.
Yes.
Yes, you're doing this, and what are we doing to improve the immune system? How do we do this? And what is more? What more? Well, why are you doing this? And you practice why? Well, what if you could have the healthiest immune system on the planet? Which we were? No. Well, what are you doing about that? As long as you're trying to get rid of something, you'll never build it. Trying to get rid of subluxations will never evolve the nervous system because you're trying to get rid of something with your educated mind, as compared to allow it to be ignited to its own organizing wisdom and see, is that happening? The other question here, how does the chiropractor take care of it? The chiropractor chooses it. You make a choice that you know your legacy is based upon a gift that you had, man's greatest or person's greatest best man, and you're going to take that. And if you were the last chiropractor in the world, you know would grow and survive because of that. That's what happens. And I don't care what you call it, whatever it is. I don't care what any of those things. What I care is that humanity is liberated, because in the next few years, all the professions are going to collapse, because every profession is binding energy for its own self-interest and is regulated by people who want to keep a certain political social model, and all of that's going to go on. People won't care whether you're a chiropractor or a medical doctor. They're all going to disappear. It's, are you helping me to get rid of something, or you're helping me to be more? That's it. And we could be leading the parade.
That's it. Let's take the tree, lead the parade, liberate humanity. What a gift. What an opportunity.
And then just keep improving. Just keep improving your skills, your communication. Are you talking about more that's possible? You're talking about less. Oh, you have this problem for 20 some odd years. Therefore, it's going to take a long time to correct it. Bullshit. Innate occurs in a second. The second a mental impulse hits, there's a change. You're holding them back. To see miracle, to be able to experience a miracle, you have to see with the eyes of a miracle. I am telling you, Frank would have been very proud of this conversation. That was his spirit. And he was the cultural model of what was around at the time. And chiropractic then was still about correcting something to improve something. No one's broken. You're disconnected from the organizing wisdom. One other thing, practice member. I coined the term practice member in 1982. A practice member is not a patient in chiropractic care. A patient is someone who comes in, the contract is, you fix me, you find what's wrong, correct me as few as possible. I'll pay you, I'll do whatever you say, and then I'll be healed. And I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I started practicing in 78. By 1982, I said, I can't deal with this anymore. People coming in for that reason. So I had a contest in the office. What are we going to call someone who's coming in for care, who's more expressing innate more? And I asked people. And that's subluxate, all different words. At that time, American Express was coming out, and it was a membership club. Health clubs were coming out. So they got a free month of care for doing this. They had to write an essay up. It's a great thing to have people write essays on contests and that. I said, what would you call someone who's coming in care? Because it's not a patient, because a patient wants to be treated to be restored to a prior minimal state as quickly as possible. And only treated for that condition, that part. A practice member is someone who says, I want to collaborate with you. I recognize I don't heal, something else heals me. It's intangible force. That's the same force that organizes everything. And I wanted to collaborate with you that you could help me express that, whatever it does. But I realized that healing is my responsibility. Doctors are not trained to heal. They're trained to treat or take their part of the Medical Practice Act that the medics will allow to happen, social system, and practice on that. A practice member says, hey, you be my usher, you walk me along the line, you nudge me here, you nudge me here, and allow that power to heal and allow my life to celebrate. That's what a practice member is. And my first chiropractic seminar I gave in 1984 was how to take a patient and turn them into a practice member. And the answer was, make sure innate's being liberated enough that it'll just naturally happen. And when you help change one person, in time the world. When you're adjusting somebody, I never see that one person. I see that person as a gateway to all of humanity and an information flow going to direction. The future, the past, all merging with that mental impulse. Does it mean the disease is going to go away? No. I mean, they're going to feel better? No, but they get a better feel. And it's not about how do you feel. It's how do you feel about how you feel, which is the key. Marcus, thank you so much for what you're doing. Thank you for bringing this extraordinary group of people together who I honor, who each have a different spin on it there. And ultimately, no matter what I say, what I actually do with someone is more elegant than it because it's doing it. Thank you, everyone.